Today we'll be reviewing the NECA Robocop figure. This is one of NECA's newer offerings, and overall it's pretty good. We'll go ahead and jump in with the accessories. He comes with the gun and an interchangeable hand, which includes the data spike. The hand just pops off. I'm not actually going to do it on the screen, but pops off relative ease. May involve a little bit of work, but pops right off and new hand goes on really easily. The data spike is actually it's actually a little sharp, which is nice. Obviously it's not going to puncture skin probably unless you really try, but the fact it's not just some flimsy little plastic really helps. As for the figure himself, we'll go ahead and jump into articulation like we usually do. So he's got ball head, very nice. He's got ball shoulders, but due to the sculpt, kind of limits the articulation there, and that's going to be something I'm going to be saying a lot with this figure. So there's decent range of motion, but nothing to really write home about. And that also applies with the hinged elbow. So here's flat. That's how much motion you get out of it. Again, the sculpt limits it, and you get just about 45 degrees, which is kind of a shame. He has swivel wrists. He's got a torso joint, swivels. He's got the swivel waist, and he has kind of a hybrid V-cut ball joint, hip joints. As you can see, the sculpt again limits things, but it does have some range, kind of ball motion, but it is, for all intent and purposes, similar to a V-cut. I mean, at least they included that little bit of extra motion there. They could have just left it just straight V-cut and just been done with it. And I don't think anyone would have blamed them. I mean, they're NECA. The fact that there's leg articulation at all is sometimes amazing. So, be thankful for that, I guess. He has the hinged knee. You gotta be a little careful because there is a working piston with the elbow, or with the ankle here, which is also just hinged. And you can see that going on there. I don't want to accidentally rip that out or anything. So that's the articulation. Nothing really to write home about, but nothing really terrible either. After all, he is, pretty much a cyborg, and he doesn't really move in a lot of crazy ways in the movie, if I remember correctly. So, nothing really nuts there. He does not have the thigh holster that the Figma figure will have. The Figma figure will also be a little bit smaller too. So that's one of the differences between the two. The sculpting is really well done. I don't know if you can see. I'll try and get in here. You can actually see on the head there they have the DCP Police 001, Detroit Police Department. And that's just little details, like some engraving there. Some of the details are kind of lost because of the way the torso is colored. It's just that straight black. You kind of just don't see some of the stuff normally. But the sculpt isn't bad. You know, circuitry, robotics and whatnot. Like I said, you have the working pistons. It's kind of neat. These work much better than the T1000 endoskeleton pistons that we've dealt with in the past. As for the paint's also fantastic. It's got this nice kind of pearlescent silver paint job to it. I'm not sure if the video is going to show it too much. In person, it almost has a slightly pink tinge to it under a certain light. Like I said, I don't know if that's going to be able to show up on the camera, but it's actually very nice. Very nice paint. I haven't seen any real slop. It looks like it was applied pretty well. The only places I imagine you'd really be having an issue with that would be around the face. And I'll load it in here so you can kind of see. It does look like there's just like a little itty bitty bit, but I mean it's almost negligible. So nothing too bad there. It's very basic paint job, like I said, with the exception of the nice kind of silver pearlescent color you got going on there. There's just the flesh tone for the face and the black for everything else. So nothing really spectacular about the paint job here, but it works. There doesn't need to be anything spectacular about it. For price, he'll cost you, I think, $14.99 at Toys R Us. You might be able to find him cheaper online if you look around. He's a decent deal. I mean, you get a 7-inch figure for $15. It's definitely a nostalgia figure if you grew up in the 90s and you watched Robocop, Robocop 2, so forth and so on. As far as scale goes, like I mentioned just a second ago, he has a 7-inch figure. So here's the usual Iron Man. Ever had a little trouble getting to stand up. And the NECA Terminator figure. And as you can see, they line up pretty well. So there you go. That is the NECA Robocop figure, and I hope you enjoyed. Thanks.